Okay, hi students. So today we are going to talk more about words that we can use that help us talk specifically about time and about how to help people understand, put more detail into our sentences. So today we're going to talk about how to talk about extended time. Now, when I say extended, sounds it's if you don't know what that word means, it means to make longer, to lengthen. Like think of, so if somebody said extend your arm, extend means to like make it straight and reach out. So that's to extend your arm. And when we say extended time, it means time that is long, right? Time that is like your arm. It goes longer, right? It goes the farthest it can. So that's what extended time means. It means we're talking about time that is long or lengthened. So, how to talk about extended time? What is extended time? Like I said, extended time, think of your arm getting longer, right? That's extended. So that's what extend means, to make longer. Extended time is just time that is, longer, right? So it's just, it's kind of hard to understand. How can time be longer? Time is always going. But when you're talking about time, you're not talking about one point in extended time. Extended time is you're talking about lots of different times, lots of different things happening at different points between a longer space of time. So, we can talk about, in English, we use the words since, for, by, from, and to, from, until, during, and within. So these are different from yesterday because yesterday we talked about on, at, and in. And that's how we talk about time. That's very specific. It's pointing to one point in time. When we use these words, since, for, by, from, to, from, until, during, within, it means that we're talking about a longer space of time, an extended space of time. So, how to use the word since? So, in English, you use since to help talk about an event that happened in the past but is still happening now, right? So, if you said, I have lived, remember we learned that that's present perfect tense, right? I have lived in the US since 2010. So that means in the past, when you moved in 2010, you have been living for all of that time and it keeps going, right? So instead of talking about a time that's from right here to right here, this is how long. It's talking about a time, something that happened in the past to something that keeps going. So that's why we use since. You can only use since if the beginning of the event was in the past. So you couldn't say, I am going to the store next week, or I'm trying to think of a good one. I am going to the store next Saturday since 4 o'clock. That doesn't work because since only works if you're talking about something in the past. Like, I have been at the store since 4 o'clock today. So that means you got to the store in the past and you're still at the store. So that's why we use since. So normally in English, you use since, the word since, with the perfect tenses. So just since is like, it's spelled kind of weird. It's not sensei, it's since. And the C at the end, this little C, it makes a S sound, like an S. And you don't say the E, so it's silent E. But normally in English, you use it with perfect tense. So perfect tense is what we've learned, right? Is where present perfect tense is something we've learned, right? I have lived here since 2010. I have been here since 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's what we need. That's what I mean when I say when you really use it with perfect tense. You don't really use it in other instances or sentences. I have not seen him since yesterday. Okay? And then, so that's just saying since the event of yesterday happened back here in the past. And it's saying, I haven't seen him since yesterday. So all this time is moving forward, and this was the last time I saw him. So that's why we use since. She has been here since 7 a.m. So that's saying she got to work or she got here to my house. That was in the past. And it keeps on going. She has been here since 7 a.m., meaning I don't know when she's going home, but she has been here since this moment in the past. How to use since. Now, here's another example. So, you don't have to use it at certain times of the day. You can keep using it. So, for example, pretend it is 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Somebody says to you, you are here early. When did you get to work? They see you and they're like, you're here so early. When did you get to work? You could say, I have been here since 6 a.m. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning. This person sees you and they say, how long have you been here? You could say, I have been here since 6 a.m. So since 6 o'clock in the morning, before 8 a.m., before right now, in the moment. You can use it then. You could also, pretend it's the same day, that person left. Now it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 p.m. And somebody says, you are still here? You are here late. Like you're here so late. You stay so late. And you say, yes, I have been here since 6 a.m. So you see how you could say the same thing twice in one day. It doesn't matter what time it is. You can just keep saying it. I have been here since 8 a.m. Oh, you're here so late? I have been here since 8 a.m. The only thing that's important to remember about using it is that it always has to be in the past, right? So if it was 7 o'clock in the morning, you could say, I have been here since 6 o'clock, right? That's how you use since. You can keep using it throughout the day because there's no end to it. You can keep saying it as long as it's the event that you're talking about. The thing that happened is in the past. So now we're going to talk about how to use the word for. Now, just like on, at, and in, for and some of these other words have different meanings. They can talk about time and places. So, or different things. But for can be used to talk about time. And that's what we're going to focus on is when you're talking about time and you use the word for or you hear the word for is used to talk about the time between two other points in time. So since is something that happened in the past and keeps going. If you say for, you're talking about something that happened in the past, something that could happen in the future. It can happen anytime. And then another point of time that's after it. So you're just talking about one section of time, okay? But it can be however big of a section. So for example, you could say, I am going on vacation for 2 weeks. This means that you will not be at work. You'll be on your vacation for 2 weeks. So starting from day 1 to the last day, which is in 2 weeks. So say you left on Saturday, you would be gone Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then another Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So all of that time between the first day that you leave and the last day of your vacation, that's what for is. It's talking about everything between this spot right here. So for lets people know, okay, they're saying the time that they say, it means that it's going to happen in between. So you could say, I was waiting, and it can be as long. You could say, I will be gone for 2 minutes, right? And that means you'll be gone from minute 1 to minute 2. So it can be really small like that. Or it can be a month. I will be gone for 2 months. It can be a long time. It can also be, I was waiting for 3 hours. So this means that they started waiting here, and then they finished waiting, and it was 3 hours in between. So for helps you say, this is how long whatever it is happened. This is how long it lasted. So instead of saying, I was waiting for 3 hours, or I was waiting 3 hours long, you would say, I was waiting for 3 hours. And that person that you're talking to would know, okay, so that means that they started waiting, and when they were done waiting, it had been 3 hours. Now we're going to talk about using by. Now, this one's kind of hard to understand. I get confused with this, with English and instructions. So things that people write for you to follow, like if you turn in an application or you have to submit paperwork or something, this is what I get confused by too. So it's kind of hard. By is used when we talk about deadlines. And a deadline means when something is due, when you have to turn something in. So that's what it means. So if you read something that said, oh, turn in your application by September 30th, that means that you can turn in your application anytime before September 30th, the day, but you have to make sure that it definitely is turned in on September 30th. You need to make sure it's turned in on that day, because after that day, you can't do it. That's what by means. It means that anytime before, but definitely for sure by the day that they say, or the time. So by is used to say anytime before, but for sure at the time that it's talking about. So if you said, I will be home by 5, it's different from saying, I will be home at 5. If you said, I will be home at 5, it means that you will be home right at 5, exactly when it is 5. If you said, I will be home by 5, it means that you could show up before 5 o'clock, right? It means that you could show up at 4, you could show up at 4:30, but when you say, I will be home by 5, it means that you won't be home any later than 5. Here's 5 o'clock. You could show up anytime before here, that's good. But anytime after, no, that's not going to happen. You're not going to show up after 5. But definitely by 5, meaning at 5 o'clock or earlier, you'll be there. If something says submit your paperwork by May 6th, it means that you cannot turn your paperwork in later than May 6th. So here's May 6th, the day, right? And you could turn in your paperwork before May 6th. So you could turn it in on May 4th or May 5th or May 3rd even. But it says you need to submit your paperwork by May 6th. You could turn it in on May 6th. You could turn it in on the 6th of May. But you cannot turn it in after. And that's why by is important, because it's saying any time before this time, any time before here, you can turn it in. You can turn it in on this day. You can do it on this day. But anything after, you can't do. So if a business or an office tells you to turn something in or call them and uses by, like make sure you call us by 5 p.m. Pay attention to the date when the office closes. So they could say, please submit your information by August 5th. But if it's an office, that means usually offices close at 5 p.m. You can't show up at 10 o'clock and turn it in because they're closed and they won't be open till the next day. So that's not good, because if you turn it in the next day, it's August 6th and they said by the 5th. which means that they're not going to take it. So that's why you have to submit your information by August 6th. It means on that day and before. Usually, offices will give you more information. Like they'll say, please submit your information by 5 p.m. on August 5th, or please turn this in by 5 p.m. on August 5th. And that just lets you know 5 p.m. is a time. August 5th is a day. So on that day and that time, you have to make sure you have it turned in before that time or at that time, because they will close at 5 p.m. So that's what that means in English when I'm sure you've had this before where a doctor will say, to confirm your appointment, call us by 5 p.m. on Friday. That means that you have all the time before 5 p.m. on Friday to call them and say, I confirm my appointment. But if you call at 5:05 or 5:30, they won't be open. So that's why they use by. It means that you need to call any time before. You need to do it any time before. And you can do it at the time we say, but not after. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to learn is we are going to learn how to use from, to, and how to use from and until. So these little lines right here, it just means any words, any word can come right here and right here. But they usually talk about time. So from and to, there'll be something after from and after to, and after from and after until. This word says until. So you can use from and to or from and until in the same way. There isn't really a difference in between the two, and the difference that is there is just so small that you don't need to worry about it. Other English speakers will understand what you're saying if you use either of them in any situation, any time. So you'll be okay using both of them in the same way. So you could say, I work from 7 to 3. It is hot from May until October. So you'll notice that it has from here. I'm going to get my little pen out. Oh, maybe it won't work. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to get the little pen out just to show you. You have from right here. Is it going to write? Let's see. I don't think so. It's not going to work today. So you'll notice that it says the word from, and it says a number. It says a time from 7, and then it says the word 2, 3. So this one is a way to talk about kind of like 4. It's talking about a special chunk of time that has stuff happening in between. It has a beginning and an end. But when you use from and to or from and until, it's telling that person from this exact time to this exact time, or from this exact time to this, or until this exact time. So you have, let me go back. So you have, it just means that something happens in between the time said. So to use it, you just have to say, oh, I work from, and then you say the time, to until the time you're done. So when you use it, after the word from, you put like a month or a day or a time, like 7 or 6, like a number time. And then you, after to or until, You say when it's going to end. So you could say, oh, the store is open from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. And that's telling the person from this time they can go until this time they can go. So the reason you use this and not the word for is because if you said the store was open for, you can only put one thing after that. The store was open for 6 hours, or the store is open for 6 hours. But you can't say the store is open for 6 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. You can't say that in English, so you have to say the store is open from 6 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. Or you could say the store is open from 6 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. And those two sentences mean the same thing. You can use them in the same way. So it's pretty easy. How to use during. So we use during to talk about time in English. When we're talking about something that is happening, something that's going on, at the same time as another thing that's happening. So you could say, she was texting during the meeting. That means that she was texting, she had her phone and she was texting at the same time that the meeting was happening. It just means that they're both happening at the same time. So you can also use during to talk about something that happens anytime within a certain time. So they're giving you a certain time by saying during the meeting or during the summer. That's a very specific space of time. But when you use during, it means that something is happening in between that time, and you're not saying it only happened once. You're saying that it's happening, it could happen lots of times, it can happen a couple of times. It's just saying that things are happening in between this time. And you don't say 2 times, you don't say between May and July, or you don't say, you just say, you can say the meeting or the summer. So for example, you could say, I swim a lot during the summer. That means that it's summer, so this is the time, summertime, right? It's pretty big, but it's a certain amount of time is summer. It means that during summer, during is that in this space of time, I am swimming. Not all the time, not every day, but it's something that I do. So you could say, I swim a lot during the summer, or I like to stay inside during the winter. You could say, I like to practice my English lessons during my lunch or during my break. You can say that too. So during is just saying that you do something at the same time as another thing. So it's summertime, that's happening, and you also will do you'll do something else. You'll swim, or I grind my teeth during my sleep. It means that the time that you're sleeping, you grind your teeth in the middle. Like in any time during the night. See how I use during? Any time at night when you're sleeping, you grind your teeth. So that's why we use during. Okay, and I think that there's one more. We'll see if we can get my computer to work. Okay, so the last one that we're going to do is within. Now, within, remember, you probably know this, but within can talk about place, right? Within means like inside something. But when you use within to talk about time, you use it to talk about something that happens before the end of the time that is said. So the time that you say in the sentence, when you say within, it means that the whatever is happening happened or needs to happen in the future or the past before the time ended. So you could say, they need to finish the project within the year. So the time that we're giving is the year. That's the time that we're giving. That's the time that we're talking about. And when we say they need to finish the project within the year, it means that it can be finished at any time, but it needs to be finished before the end of the year. It needs, you imagine the time like a kind of like how we imagine space, like places, how we use within, like it's inside. You have to finish the project inside of the year. You can't go outside of the year. So that just means the project needs to be finished before the year is over. If you somebody said return within the hour, that means return means to come back before the hour ends. That's what it means. So it means that when somebody says, oh, return within the hour, it means come back before the hour is over. That's what it means. So if it's 2:30 and somebody says, oh, you can go take a break, but return within the hour, that means that if it's 2:30 now and they say within the hour, it means that you need to show up before 3 o'clock. That's all it means. She finished her dinner within 5 minutes. That just means she ate all her dinner before 5 minutes had passed. It means that within the 5 minutes, she ate all of her dinner. So that's how you use within. So it helps people to understand that whatever is happening, the time that it happened is inside of the time that you give, within the year, within the hour, within the month. That's how you use it. So that's it for today. Tomorrow I'm going to give you a worksheet to do that practices all of the stuff that we've learned this week so far. So I'll see you next lesson.